What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. Today we're talking some college basketball. It's Friday, March the 15th. Conference tournaments underway. Mostly just the big boys left, with a lot of these bad teams getting eliminated. It's a great slate of action. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. New sponsor today, it is Bet365, and they have a deal that you guys need to take advantage of, a limited time deal. North Carolina is now live, so you guys can take advantage of this. What you'll do is click the link in the video description below, bet $5, and you'll get $150 in the form of bonus bets, whether that wins or loses. This is available in North Carolina, of course, Kentucky, Ohio, New Jersey, Virginia, Iowa, Colorado, Louisiana, Indiana, and Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older to play in most areas. Kentucky, you can be 18, but take advantage of this. These are all limited time, and who doesn't want that extra bankroll in your account as we approach March Madness? All right, short on time today. This is just the nature of the beast when we have games that don't end until midnight Eastern time, and then they play the next day. So it's tough to even get lines, gather information, and play these. So we'll have a limited spread of games. I'm going to continue working on the start of the day, so follow on Twitter if you want more. It's @Matt_Gajewski. Or in our Discord, where we'll talk about these. First up, Purdue takes on Michigan State. I grabbed this at -6 yesterday. It's -7.5 now. I'm not really all that concerned about this, to be honest. Purdue is a top 2 team in the country, and Michigan State has a severe weakness. It's their interior. And if you know anything about Purdue, they have the best player in the country in Zach Edey, who exploits that mismatch. And it is going to be an absolute bloodbath on the inside for this Michigan State team trying to defend Purdue and Zach Edey. They've rotated their players on the inside. We've seen Sissoko play. They're playing Booker recently on the interior, who's more of like an athletic three-point shooting type big. He does a little bit more than some of those other big stiff bodies in there like Carr and stuff. But regardless, this is going to be a foul disaster for Michigan State, who gets into foul trouble here and there. They're 146 in fouls committed, Purdue's 5th in fouls generated. That is just because of Zach Edey being on the floor. Really, the only thing I'm concerned with is Michigan State shoots threes relatively well. We've seen teams like Northwestern, when they get hot, they can play Purdue close. Now, this typically doesn't even result in wins. You know, Northwestern in one of their games went to OT against Purdue, shooting 50% from three. I think it's pretty telling. Opposing teams need to shoot like way above their season expectation to even get games to overtime. Aside from having Zach Edey, who he does what he does, he absolutely clogs the paint. Refs can't figure out how to call fouls for or against him, which has led Purdue to shoot an absurd amount of free throws. On top of all that, they're number 2 in the country at shooting threes. Number 2 in three-point percentage. Michigan State is 106 defending that area of the floor. We already mentioned the woes Michigan State has inside. That is evidenced in the rebounding. I'm honestly interested in alt lines every time Purdue plays. If you can find a book that's going to give you plus money and pretty decent plus money on like -10, I'm looking at Purdue in that vein. This team, unlikely to lose this game, and I think there's a chance they just absolutely smash Michigan State. All right, next up, we have Mississippi State taking on Tennessee. This is one where I'm looking at a total. 141 is available, and I think this is one we want to take over. It's going to move up. Pacing in this game lines up. Mississippi State's about average, 181. Tennessee is 76th, and there's ways that both these teams can score on their opponents, I think. I'm a little more worried about Mississippi State scoring. They're the weaker team on offense, and they're facing the better defense in Tennessee, but I think since they've gotten healthier, they've dealt with a couple injuries. Tolu Smith missed about half the year. They should be able to do a little bit more. They're not the best shooting team. Neither is Tennessee. They basically just have connect, but Mississippi State should have some success inside. They're 66th in interior scoring. Tennessee's certainly going to do their part, playing fast, top 100 in pace, 76 on the year. And this team has no issue scoring really anywhere, especially with connect. But you're getting good minutes out of Ziegler at the point guard. Vescovi doesn't have to play a huge role for this team anymore, and he can shoot threes. You still have Josiah Jordan-James. It's a deep Tennessee team. And with this Vols team willing to run of late, that could coax Mississippi State into some extra possessions. So basically just an over because of pacing, but I like the way these two offenses are comprised, particularly on the Tennessee side. We'll return to the Big Ten. Wisconsin takes on Northwestern. Northwestern has injuries. That's really just the main thing for this team, and Wisconsin's not lined appropriately. We'll show you this in Odd Shopper in a second, but recently Northwestern, they lost Ty Berry for the year. That's not news at this point. He's been out for a few games. But Matthew Nicholson's also been out for this team, and in their most recent contest, he was shown on crutches. I'm not a doctor, but it doesn't appear he's going to return anytime soon for this Northwestern team. So when you look at their efficiency metrics, they're a hard team to evaluate. They've been pretty good inside. That's where Nicholson plays, which is an issue. And Wisconsin, that's their main weakness. They've been pretty giving in terms of just what opposing bigs can get on them. So losing Nicholson, I think, is important here. As far as scoring, gaps aren't that wide. Effective field goal, it's 104-55 in favor of Northwestern. Losing Ty Berry and Nicholson, I think, hurts that. Aside, Wisconsin's the much better rebounding team. So another spot where Nicholson probably affects this. We have Wisconsin 12th in effective height, Northwestern 108th. Wisconsin's also fully healthy, and they've gotten back some key players, unlike Northwestern. Blackwell has returned to the lineup for this team. And weirdly enough, he's emerged as their best three-point shooter, which is a bit of a surprise to me. But you look at him, he's at 50% on the year, and that's on 58 attempts. Not a tiny sample. It's not great either, but he's been a spot-up shooter, and he's been awesome from it. Klesmit at 38%. And you even get some three-point shooting from Steven Krull, occasionally only 45 attempts, but he's at 47%. Anyway, it's mostly the injuries that get this there for Wisconsin, but a 3.5, I think, is completely fine, and you can find that readily available, which we'll talk about in a second with Odd Shopper. But last up, Quinnipiac St. Peter's. This one is -1.5. The better players are just flat out on Quinnipiac, and I don't even think this is particularly close. Go to evanmedia.com, look at player ratings. You have 5 players in the top 17 for Quinnipiac, and the number 1 player in the country, in this conference, excuse me, not the country, in Paulo Tinio. Amari Trice is 6, Matt LeBlanc, he's 8. And then you parallel this with what St. Peter's has. They have 3 players in the top 21. They do have the number 3 player in Corey Washington. But outside of that, this team doesn't have the same depth. And just statistically, if you look at the profiles of these two teams, Quinnipiac, drastic advantage on offense. Like, it's massive. They're 169. St. Peter's is 316. That's evidenced in effective field goal, 165 to 349. Defense isn't that different, 94 to 60, but interior defense is 52 to 67. From 3, it's 98 to 171. The biggest difference is turnovers forced versus turnovers committed. And I'm not really sure St. Peter's can exploit anything on this end of the floor. Quinnipiac never turns the ball over. They're 11th in turnovers committed. The one thing that might be an issue is the foul margin. These teams are very different. You have St. Peter's constantly in trouble, but they generate a lot of fouls. Quinnipiac is the exact opposite. They're never in foul trouble, and they never generate fouls. So I'm not really sure what to make of that. Just very different statistical profiles. Rebounding's even for these two teams. So with defense being fairly close and such a wide gap on offense, I think there is some juice left to be squeezed on the Quinnipiac side. And then as far as that goes with line shopping, some of these you may think aren't available. We'll bring you to the Odd Shopper screen where you can see the Wisconsin 3.5 still available, as well as this Quinnipiac line. So this is Odd Shopper behind the glass. You can see these 2 lines available at the various books. This is available in the link below, and there's a lot involved in this page. This live odds screen is going to show you the best place to find these wagers. Makes a huge difference to your bottom line. I've been bit on the hook a couple times this week, but there's also a number of other features. We have a market-based approach, which allows you to find plus EV betting spots across the industry, basketball, hockey, props, whatever you want. And our Discord's now included, so I'm using this tool. Ben's using this tool. All of our experts do. We go in there, talk to you about the plays we're making, why we're making them, give you the analysis, show you how to use these tools, and it's all available in one package now, $14.95 for a week, $49.95 for a month. No long-term commitment, so even if you just want to try it out during conference tournaments or March Madness, it's an excellent time to do so. So check it out. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, questions, reach out to me on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski or leave a comment. Until tomorrow, we'll see you guys later, and good luck.